Today, our distinguished panelists will unravel the strategies, challenges, and opportunities embedded in this journey. And our esteemed panelists are here to illuminate the path forward. So let us extend a warm welcome to the speakers, the panelists of our very first discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome first the moderator for the session, Mr. Raveendran Kasthuri. He was the former managing director of IBM India. He is a board member of NIT Calicut. Let us welcome him on stage with a nice round of applause, dear delegates. And it is with great honor and pleasure that I welcome our panel members. First and foremost, with great pleasure, let me welcome our vibrant, young, honorable collector of the District of Kozhikode, Mr. Snehil Kumar Singh IAS. It is an absolute honor to have the collector himself coming over at KTX Global Wave 2024 to become a panel member for this discussion. The next speaker for this discussion is Mr. Purushothaman K, the head of Govt Affairs, Cognizant, welcoming Mr. Purushothaman on stage. And our third speaker for this discussion is Professor Ashutosh Sarkar, a professor and executive director at IIMK Live. A very warm welcome to Professor Ashutosh Sarkar. So here are our esteemed panel members, and our moderator, Mr. Raveendran, is all set. So over to you, Raveendran, sir.
I think yesterday we had a great session like what Anita said. We set the roadmap for how Tier 2, Tier 3 cities like Calicut can really think of becoming one of the real good IT hubs for the world, right? So today morning I was discussing with Purushothaman. He was saying there is no more Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 1 cities. After COVID, every city is Tier 1 or Tier 2 or Tier 3 because it doesn't matter, like location is no more important. So that way I think we are very much in the cusp of a very big opportunity, right? And we can really take this city to a very different level. And the unique thing about Calicut, I think yesterday several speakers also said, is these 9 different entities, right? Like IIMK, NIT, then MCC, CAFET, and all these different organizations, and the cyber parks, right? UL Cyber Park, Government Cyber Park, all this grouped together to really think about how we can make city very different. And this is a very unique thing. And when I was discussing with the panelists in the morning, they also said, we never heard something like this in any other city. You can't imagine. We were having a task force in Bangalore, and that was more connected with IT mostly, and maybe biotech, but nothing else, right? But here we have a unique opportunity where we can do a complete inclusive development for the city, and these all different entities have come together, and it is very unique and very different. And plus, we have some of the best institutes in the country, right? We have IIMK, which is number 1 or 2 or 3, right now in the country, and we have one of the best NIT. Then several institutes like Devagiri and several other colleges, right? And which can really give the ecosystem. And we have a very young collector, right? So who is very much tech savvy. And I was telling him that he is the youngest among us, but he has the vastest experience actually. I was going through his profile. Then he has all kind of experience. He handled cyber park. He was the CEO for the cyber parks for some time. Then he was doing various administrative roles. He was sub-collector here earlier, I thought, right? Yeah, assistant collector here. Then now he came back as collector. So that way, very much focused on the city and really to take it forward. Then we have another panelist, Mr. Purushothaman. He is connected with city more than me because I was working here for last 4.5 years. Then I was thinking I know very much about city, but when I talked to him, I realized that he knows much more history than what I have because he was connected with the city and its development earlier. Right now he is handling the government affairs in Cognizant, and he is the business head there. But before that, he was also working with NASCOM for the overall growth for the country, right? And he was quite a few years working in the capacity as a director. So that way, very vast understanding and knowledge of how we can really grow different areas and different cities. That is what Mr. Purushothaman is bringing in. Then we have Professor Ashutosh Sarkar. So he actually became a Calicutized person, right? And he said he took a property, he took everything because he is from IIT and he is all major his educations were from IIT, and then he was teaching somewhere else, and he was also in US. Then he came back here, and he is with IIM from 2015 onwards. Now he is very much thinking of how to make Calicut really different, because it is his own city now, right? So that way we have very eminent panelists and with a lot of experience. So what we will do today is we will generally discuss, okay, what is it we can do to support these 9 different entities which came together to take the city forward, right? And with that, and this thing, without spending too much of time, I will ask panelists whether you want to add anything more to your profile, and then I think I'll start with some of the questions which I have to trigger the discussion. Snehil?
Good morning, everyone. For the profile, so I am a BTech graduate from IIT Roorkee. I did my civil engineering, and then I got into the service in 2016, and 2016 onwards I've had quite some experience being in Kochi, then Kannur, Kozhikode, of course. Then in Trivandrum I had a good flavor of the IT functioning with, I was IT mission director that time, so that deals with the government IT solutions and businesses. And I was also IT department deputy secretary, so I was involved with all these organizations, be it the parks or the startup mission and other things. So in that sense I do have little exposure to this industry, and I also worked with Chief Secretary's office and Chief Minister's office for some time here and there. So from the government side, I think I've fairly seen different scales and different levels of it. And of course, coming back as district collector has given me an epiphany of a different sort altogether. Primarily, I would like to be very clear that I'm very proud of the fact that we are having KTX in Kozhikode in this shape and size. Because when I was discussing with the team here, and I think they were very jittery initially, but over the time, everybody kept together, and yes, we'll go ahead, they'll go ahead, and with all the great work done by each of the organizers, I would like to initially congratulate them for the beautiful expo that they have created. Thank you.
Purushothaman?
So, thank you for this opportunity. I've been coming to this city for the last 20 years now. And the first initiative, thanks to all those leaders sitting in the first few rows, they are the fathers of this city 1.0 that point in time. I still have a great memory. We brought some 40 visitors from Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, by road from Coimbatore airport to here. That's the status of this program 16 years back. Today when I turn back and see now the evolution, what the city 2.0 has brought into the city is amazing. Hats off to all those people who have relentlessly put together this program. I always call this as a Calicut model. I was working with NASSCOM for a decade, and with Cognizant, I had an opportunity to take delegations to Africa and also to US. Government delegations, I have been part of it, and also led some business delegations. Wherever I go, I talk about the city Calicut for the simple reason. There is no other place in the country where all the 9-10 different verticals have come together to promote the city. Be it the real estate or chambers, trade bodies, NIT, IIM, with single objective of promoting Calicut as an IT initiative. That is what has resulted in getting the UL Cyber Park and also the government Cyber Park in this place. We never waited, we were not waiting for industries or companies to follow us. We took the lead. We had the IT park and slowly started creating that momentum. Thanks to that team of NASSCOM and the people around here, we had many sessions. Many times people have traveled for 500, 600 kilometers by bus. I still remember I brought Suresh Sambandam to the city by bus from Chennai to Calicut. Today we can't even imagine those things, right? So this tireless effort of this team sitting in the front few rows, I think hats off to them. Continue this and the city will go places. Okay, now that we have a commitment from so many people, the collector, the pivotal role, the important role. In fact, the collector, the then collector also played a larger role, like you, was very passionate about bringing all these things together. Keep it up. This will be a role model for other cities to follow. As he said, Bangalore Task Force do not even have manufacturing. It has got more of IT and biotech. Same way, everybody has got models, but
this is a unique model. And keep up this good work. Probably next year we should see much more, participation from outside Kerala, getting a lot of people around here and all that. Probably that should be the aspirations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Benjamin. Professor.
Yeah. Let me at the outset thank the organizers of KTX for organizing such an wonderful event. In fact, I was completely taken back because I am living in this city for the last almost like 9 years, and I regularly drive through this place, but we never knew that such an wonderful thing can happen here. And in fact, talking about from the point of view of IIM Kozhikode, so we have actually national and global ambitions as an institute, and we always looked forward to Kochi as for many things. And in fact, this event has proved that we probably, in fact, Kozhikode is equally vibrant, and we can do a lot of interesting things and can definitely fit into our national and global ambitions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think with that intro, I think let us get into, see, we have this NIT, we have IIM, and we have medical college, and some of the best, almost everything. Yesterday somebody was saying there are two things which is required, right? One is entrepreneurship, that is the money and the talent, right? And you have both, but somehow it is not connecting together to make several unicorns or something like that, right? And here we have an opportunity to coming together to make that happen. Maybe something was missing, everything is there, but there is some connection somewhere missing, right? And I will start with Mr. Purushothaman because he was connected with City from City 1.0 onwards to just really give his thoughts on how this institute, industry and local administration, everything can come together, and with all the backgrounds what we have here, to really make this city something very different. You want to start?
So, thanks to COVID, I think no longer we have, tier 1 city, tier 2 city, tier 3 city and all that. Hybrid has taught us wherever we are, we can work for the business, right? So with that as an understanding, there are a lot of business which has been moving to various cities. We have recently launched a facility in Bhubaneswar. Let me tell you, it just took us 3 weeks. We went there, we saw the government property, we liked it, and from there onwards 3 weeks, everything was done by the IT secretary in his office. Everybody was called for a meeting. They said that Cognizant is coming up there, let's put all our efforts to get them, accommodate them. After that, Accenture this week has inaugurated their facility. And just 3 weeks time, we had everything in place, all the approvals in place, everything in. That's the power of a government, right? So I think gone are these days, single window, we have been talking about single window with multiple windows and all that. Now it is really happening in some of these progressive states, and also states like Orissa, which do not have the kind of companies like what Bangalore or even Kerala can boast of, right? The first IT park in the country came up in Kerala. Technopark is the first IT park in the country, and we have been known for all that. We talk about the kind of work what we have done for this business. The startup mission, first time it came in Kerala. So we have all the fuss, but it's time today that we work with all the stakeholders like IIM and NIT and all of them in Calicut with the ecosystem. For example, we had Duleep Sahadev, and I'm not sure whether he's here today, but he had put together a program along with IIM. I don't know whether it is still continuing. There are people from our startup ecosystem who have been there, studied there, and came back and worked towards with the business. I think we need to have more such engagement models. I was just quoting about how Professor Vasanthi in IIM Bangalore works dedicatedly for the SME business. We come out with reports, research reports and all of that. So we need to make use of the knowledge which is available at IIM and NIT. Aruna Jayanti of Capgemini was there in the board of NIT, and she used to come and address the startup guys here in Calicut. I still remember that. I think we should get those kind of leaders who are in the board of NIT and IIM to own us, own the city, own the entrepreneurs, and brand, and evolve some brand ambassadors. It's not just the unicorns will make us big. It is the unique business, the real technology which comes out of these places will make us big. So how do we identify those things? We need to have an engagement model with all the stakeholders, conduct regular meetings, knowledge sharing sessions, and that is the only way which can help us to see some light. With the digital platforms and all that sitting at home, I don't think that is going to evolve or take us in the next league or level. But physically present some point in time somewhere and exchanging these kind of opportunities and knowledge, and then following with digital platforms will only help. It has to be a hybrid model for us to evolve these kind of initiatives and take it forward, is what my opinion.
So are you saying that maybe some kind of an advisory board or something with some of the key people in all these places maybe become part of this one, along with this 9 groups coming together?
You have great people from Calicut, right? People who have gone out and excelled in their business. I think it's time that they own this place and they be the mentors, brand ambassadors, for which what is more important is this openness. Today you have that here. Chamber of Commerce is open enough to accommodate all of us with the same vision, right? So, the oldest chambers, right? We all have to have that openness in terms of accommodating all those son of the soils who have really excelled, and then get them back here in folded hands and start engaging with those kind of people. Tomorrow, I think, yesterday Dr. Santosh Babu was here, and tomorrow we have Rajesh Nambiar. There are so many people. Raghavan was here talking about the success of Tata Elxsi. What more we can have? Tata's talking about the success of the cities. I think what next with Tata's here? I think that should be the roadmap which we need to look at.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good. So, Collector, so just now we have very good focus on the knowledge economy, right? Because that is the government focus. We have ICT academies, we have KKEM, and we have various these people. From the local administrative perspective, what do you think can be the best way of integrating all of them? Maybe much more in a decentralized way or something like that, so that it can help very much the growth of the city. So,
yeah, so like you said, that the government focuses on knowledge-based sectors, and quite rightly so, which I think we need to have a understanding, and people who are sitting here will agree with me when I say that every city has its own unique flavor. Gurgaon will be different from Bangalore, Bangalore will be different from Mumbai, they will be different from Pune. Everybody has its own distinct style of operations. And Kozhikode, let's for the timing leave the IT part. Kozhikode within Kerala also is unique. It has its own distinctness. And I think that is going to come up in IT investments and IT sector also. So whenever we are seeing the development is going to happen in IT, let's take UL Cyber Park or the government Cyber Park. These things will expand, but it will not expand the way we think it will, like Gurgaon, or maybe we are looking at Bangalore. That thing will not happen because Kerala is such a unique, geography and the society. Which brings me to this fact that Kerala, why we are focusing on knowledge economy is because we have that strength, we have that backbone. We do not have land. We do not have huge pockets of land that we can, give up 50 acres to Microsoft, you please build up a space. Maybe 20 years before we could have done it, but not now, because we have the resource is very crunched, the land resource itself. So we have to think in a different model. We have to think in a model where we are more decentralized. We are not focusing on particular buildings itself. We have to spread out across the area, and of course taking the ecologically and the environment sensitivity towards in this whole picture, because we will not we should not have that kind of big traffic jams as a city which is growing, which is one of the major problems. Now itself, people from Kozhikode will agree with me that we are now starting to face this traffic problems. And if we do not address it now itself, it will, prop up much difficult for us later on. Waste management, a simple issue. I don't think if you're looking at as a city which is IT savvy, which do not have a very conducive waste management system. These are very basic things. I think that's what the government has to provide. When the government policy in terms of developing talent is there, I think government has understood that we have a huge diaspora who is across the world at senior positions, who are willing to come back to Kozhikode, who are willing to come back to Kerala and set up their base, if we are able to provide them a basic provider of services. And that is where I think Purushothaman was also very right, that government can actually do it quickly, if we want. If we want, within 1 week, we give you clearance, we give you that positive approach that, okay, you come, set up your base, and you will not have to have any further headache. This kind of commitment is what is required from the government. And we are trying to do it in certain small portions. Of course, we have had our own legacy problems and other things. But I think we are in the right direction of at least understanding it. That yes, fine, if we want Kozhikode to come up, if we want companies to come up, we need to have a red carpet for them. But yes, the red carpet that Tamil Nadu offers is different from what the red carpet Kerala is going to offer, which is fine because every state has a own different set of problems. But that red carpet should be there for any company, for every company. I'll cite an example when the IBM inaugurated in Ernakulam, there was no intervention from the government side, nothing. But they just did it out because in their assessment, Ernakulam was one of the good destinations for running a business because of the ancillary support. Because they have institutions, they have other companies, and that is what Kozhikode has to build over. And as we said that we have so many partners here, educational institutes, chamber, all the people are coming together to say that okay, we are one single entity and we can give you that idea of support. I think the foundations are very well laid. It's just about triggering it again and again, because any industry does not happen overnight. It does not happen that Kozhikode becomes the best IT destination in the country in 2 years or 3 years. It takes time. It takes a lot of triggers. It takes a lot of spark for the fire to start. Because yes, sometimes people have been lucky. Kerala tourism is a very successful model. But have you actually thought how Kerala tourism happened? It's a matter of concerted efforts with chance. There are a lot of things which has to align for something to be succeed. And I think all the business people who have done it, they know this very well, that you have to put efforts, stars have to align, and then only it will be successful. And I think for the IT itself, we have to do that. We do our efforts, and we keep on sparking that ignition by saying that by this KTX, let's assume KTX, this is one of those sparks. We say that, okay, you come here, we have a discussion, and this will result in something very fruitful, I think, in the coming days.
So from the local administration perspective, do you see any challenge for this, policy-wise or some of the other things?
Frankly speaking, no. I do not see any challenge because it could be my personal approach also that government should be hands-off. Government should not be hands-on into a lot of things. We have this bad habit, I think, as government that we try to involve into everything, which we need to keep our distances from. For example, if somebody is interested to come in, we just need to tell them that, okay, you have to do so and so things. Follow the rules and procedures. Of course, simplification of rules is something which, as an administrator, we have to try to do it, which is, as a government, we are trying, for example, if you want to set up a company, you want to take permission from the land on the revenue department, we make sure that it becomes easier for you. I think that is where the challenges might arise, that our processes could be slightly more simpler for outsiders to come, because people who are living here may be familiar, but people who are coming from outside will not be that familiar into how they have to deal with our single window clearance boards, our all the forums at state level and district level have to function in a way that the challenges are not easily explained to the outsider for any kind of investments or any kind of decision that they want to take.
A few thoughts I am taking is actually, okay, Kerala doesn't have a land, so naturally physical land is not available. Yeah. Now with IT and knowledge economy, you can have a virtual land, which is infinite.
That's the target.
And so that way, if you can bring that in, then Calicut can be very different, or Kerala can be very different. So, Professor, from your point of view, being a part of a premier institute, and this was always my thought, I used to discuss with many people. We have an NIT which is close to 60 plus years, and I am 25 plus years. Now, how they can be much more involved in the city's growth, because this huge potential is coming there. Means intellectually, some of the best people in the country are coming and studying there, and they are coming for few years and going back, right? But institute is there forever. So that is a permanency. Now, is there something we can do with that permanency, with this floating population, to help the city? Is there something we can think through? What is your thought on that?
Yeah, so let me pick some of the words that the collector has highlighted, that there is already many of the resources and many things are already in place. Only it requires triggering or say firing from time to time. And as well as the ecosystem has been highlighted. In fact, the word ecosystem, we regularly use that word in our classrooms, because whenever we talk of strategy, we say that, or we often argue that this creating uniqueness or strategic advantage is very, very important. And that strategic advantage is not built because of people or just because of product. It is because of, in today's world, it is because of ecosystem. So this ecosystem can be within a company or for a location, and that is what creates the uniqueness, and that is so intangible that it is very difficult to unsee. If we think only in terms of cost leverage or say quality leverage, that can be unseated in a very short period of time. But the intangibleness associated with an ecosystem, if that we can build, it's very difficult to unseat. Now, good that we are talking about ecosystem, creating an ecosystem in Kozhikode. And probably that is where IIMK and NITs can play a very important role, because we have our own ecosystem. Although we are located in Kozhikode, but mostly we live in somewhere else, honestly speaking. So even if you look at, say, our stakeholders, primarily our students and alumni, most of them, 95 to 96% will be outside Kerala. But if you look at the amount of knowledge, expertise, network that they bring in, it's immense, basically. Yeah. In fact, even including the amount of investments that they can put in. So this is one part. The second part is the institutions, whether be it IIMs or NITs or IITs. I have, as you have highlighted, I have lived more years or spent more years in the IIT system, as he has mentioned, IIT Roorkee. So there are a lot of innovations that goes on, and in fact, if we talk of, say, academic institutions, it's a place of ideas. And continuously, hundreds of ideas pass through, germinate such ideas on a daily basis. And they also get lost. Now the issue is, how do we connect that ecosystem with the effort that is here now? We're connecting it with the Kozhikode ecosystem. And if we can reach or connect that to, probably there will be a multiplier effect. That is what I see. Now, how to create that bridge? Some of the things that you have already, Purushothaman has already highlighted, and I think that can be expanded. And in fact, I being the executive director of LIFE, we already do a lot of activities. And in fact, the kind of startups that we support, many of them are from outside Kerala, are amazing. You have to look at the ideas that are coming up. So probably we can initiate, because with this initiative we should talk more and more. And in fact, we can initiate a lot of programs, lot of collaborations we can do, so that this ecosystem can be strengthened. This is one part. The second part is, probably IIMs and NITs can also help a lot in terms of connecting with other institutions that you have talked about. Like even, say, Calicut University or even, say, MP Christian College. Obviously, they are not that privileged. I will say that in terms of investments or the amount of money that is invested in the growth of those institutions or building that ecosystem, as well as the other intellectual resources or access that they may be having. Probably we should also create programs or should take more initiatives so that we can connect, and probably the intellectual ecosystem as well as the innovation ecosystem can be strengthened many times. That 10x that Mr. Purushothaman was talking about, it probably can be more than that. Thank you.
Do you think there is a big wall between IIM and Calicut City?
Yeah, there is already a physical wall, but, which is very strong. But the virtual wall can be easily removed.
I just want to quote one small thing, because there was an engagement model which was built by CAFIT long back. I don't know whether it's still there. You know, we always used to get afraid when we get a call from CAFIT. You know why? These guys will come in groups whenever there is an event, whether it is Tycon Kochi or the National Product Council in Bangalore. They will all come in groups. They'll say, we are 30 of us coming from Calicut. We'll come in our own bus. Okay, they will all come in t-shirts. I've seen those things happening 2-3 years. I don't know whether it's still happening. That's the kind of bonding these people have. I think if that continues, there is no question asked. You know, it will really become successful. They'll engage with IIM. They'll go behind live program, and they'll be the maximum contributor too. And I think CAFIT should come back, or if they are not there, they should start engaging and taking this under the umbrella of one city. CAFET and others should work together is what I believe.
Yes.
So are you saying about a lot more research or something like that connected with
Yes.
IIMs and
Yeah,
NIT?
the alumni they have, so, and the research strengths they have, the kind of branding, marketing support which they can provide to the startup ecosystem here or for the SME IT companies. Most of them are SME IT companies. So both of them should be open enough to exchange programs, and there should be some stronger binding factor because nothing comes free, right? So the model which we follow in IIM Bangalore can be replicated here for the SME IT companies. That would lead us.
Okay, good,
So in
good.
fact, adding to whatever he is saying, that one part is supporting whatever we are doing. As I was talking before the event, that one of the areas where IIMs and NITs can contribute a lot is doing new things, pushing the boundary. And in fact, that is where the research plays a very, very important role. Research primarily focused on real life problem solving. All of us have to do research. Means in fact, we have a very strong research program and the faculty members are mandated to do research. But unlike IITs, our laboratory is the industry. So we have to go out to the industries, look at real life problems and try to innovate on those problems. And that is where probably we'll always be interested in anybody coming out with their own problems. We can find out how the resources can be arranged. But we'll be very much interested to solve problems.
Great. Yeah, you want
To add on to what Professor was telling about the walls between, recently 5 of your students are doing some project under me. So one of the idea is that the second year students coming to the district administration, and I have given them a problem statement of how the MGNREGS wages are translating into the economy. A very simple problem. So what I want to say is that these kind of interactions will probably help your students also to get a perspective onto real life problems. And from my side, if any company, if any guy who is able to solve this problem of why wages are not optimized or how the spending is not well, I think these kind of more interactions between the different organizations would be really helpful. Just wanted to cite it out.
In fact, just to add to, because we two are talking more, but this is the last one point that I would like to highlight, that before COVID, so we were, when Mr. Sambasiva Rao was the collector, so we initiated a lot of programs or a lot of such engagements. One of the engagement was that how can we reduce the rush in Calicut Medical College. And in fact, me and one of my colleagues actually came out with some IT framework and backed by some business logic. It is not just the technology part. I think it was a very good proposal, but somehow it did not work out. It did not move forward. But I see now a lot of private initiatives in similar lines which are being done, but which we talked about maybe 4 or 5 years back. So that is where probably we can do a lot.
Yeah. So, Collector, from your earlier point, you were saying about government should not be directly getting involved so much, right? There should be more working in the enabling mode. Now, sometimes we do see this problem, right? Because sometimes some of the ideas come and sometimes the executives want to do it themselves, right? And then in the process, government has its own system. Then many times it is very difficult and it doesn't really get outsourced or left to somebody else to really execute it. And this problem we see in some of the problems. Do you have any thought on how we can really segregate that, how to make sure that, okay, they are not getting involved beyond a point, because it is left to the agencies who can do it best, right? And then the approvals and government, sometimes we say hurdles, right? And it is not coming in the way. Any thoughts on that?
No, so the point you have put up very well actually. This point is a thing which we have been discussing quite a lot, that government, we are not in 1950s or 60s now. We have a vibrant private sector, we have a vibrant talent pool who is willing to take risks, who have better solutions, who have better capacity to scale up, and government will always have those challenges. See, government is not government will never have that flexibility of innovation that this private sector does, because we are bound by rules, we are bound by the statute, we are bound by the public representatives who are there. So our systems are designed in such a way. Now, this is a very fine balance that I think government has to say. Let's assume health sector. Let's take health sector, medical college. We have this problem of having this project called eHealth, which is a comprehensive digital hospital management system for the entire public healthcare system of the Kerala. Now, which is one of the most unique things, because no other state is at that level that we are. Now, we are gradually building up to the scale, because we can't scale up like TCS does or like Cognizant does, because we do not have that resources. Clear thing is, we do not have those resources because our financial systems are very tightened, rules are very tightened. The second problem is the trust factor, that we generally are very trust deficient with the private sector. And the third factor is a lack of understanding. In IT department, when we are thinking that data was a big question, that where is our government data being kept? And with the recent controversies, it further escalated actually. It created a bad environment for the entire government to be open about more private sector coming in and developing solutions for us. Which created this problem that, for example, if I'm hosting, so we have a data center in Trivandrum which we maintain the entire data sets and all those things. So when I was in IT department, we were discussing that we can actually reduce our cost by going on a cloud-based solution. We were thinking about that. Now, it was not shot down per se, the whole argument, but it was decided at that point of time that let's scale our capacities in the data center itself. Now, this problem, I'm talking about purely IT solution, I'm not talking about software solution. Whether it is right or wrong, it is a decision which only future will tell. But it's expensive for us. It's expensive for us to maintain that kind of data center. It kind of have that capacities. But maybe we have taken right decision to protect the data, which is very sensitive in terms of what is happening and the data leakages which is being seen. Coming to the software part, I think we are gradually opening up. We are gradually opening up because one of the major policies of the government is about procurement from the startups which are registered under the Kerala Startup Mission. We can directly give work orders. We do not have to even do quotations. If I want a solution from a startup mission which is registered under the Kerala Startup Mission, I can directly purchase it if it is worth 50 lakh rupees, 1 crores, till 1 crores I can purchase it. Beyond 1 crores, I have to do a limited tender. So this is a great initiative for a lot of startup companies to offer some solutions. We don't have to worry about tendering work. If any department is interested, direct procurement. And we started doing it. For example, Office Kit is one of the stalls that I saw. I was in very close talk with Office Kit for taking their this office management system on a license basis and no questions asked. So if we start doing it gradually more and more, I think this whole sector is going to open up and more trust will come. Because we have to start small. We can't expect the entire e-health will be taken over by private sector. That might happen in future, but we have to start slowly with, okay, let's take the pension system, let's take the salary systems, let's take the attendance systems. These are small systems which probably government can open up. And once that trust starts building up, the entire thing will turn around. When we say that, okay, Kerala is open for bigger companies to offer bigger solutions to us, because we are now offering smaller problems to you, so you will offer us smaller solutions. If we offer you a bigger problems, so we will get bigger solutions. Because let's take passport services, bigger problem, bigger solution, and a very efficient solution. We can, medical college, bigger problem. We can probably design on those things. Only it requires a little more understanding from our side, and I have to, with my pinch of salt, I have to accept our fault as the government that we are not understanding it well. We are thinking that data, like it will go to US, it will go to Europe, and we will not have access. Those things should not happen. We need to understand technologies better, and we need to be open about what are the pros and cons of both the things. So I think slight tweaking and some more time, and we are good to go in terms of opening up the entire sector for the private sector to offer us solutions.
Great. Thank you. How are we doing on time? We are okay? Yeah, okay. We have 15 more minutes. Just want to make sure. So now, Purushothaman, you were telling about how in 15 days you could, 3 weeks, you could get something done in Orissa, right? And you started within 3 weeks, you took off with that. Can you give some experience of yours on developing cities like Calicut, right? And this kind of experiences. And what is it Calicut need to really worry about as challenges or difficulties to make it happen? Your thoughts on that?
First of all, as a business, IT and ITES, we normally do not go very close to the government. The farther we stay away from the government, the better it is for us. But we go there for labor and small things, approvals, and then we get it done. As that takes 2-3 weeks. But then I wish all the 14 districts has a collector like him. Really, he was rattling it out how he got close, wanting to go close to a small IT company to procure. That's exactly what I think Calicut should be aspiring for. We need to have, probably a booklet of all these companies and communicate. If not government, there is no other largest spender today in the country. They are the largest. He said small problems, small companies, larger problems, larger companies. Very simple statement. Passport can be solved by companies like TCS and all that. But local administration for a collectorate can be solved by small companies who are very innovative, who is always available for the beck and call, and the collectors can approve it to some extent. So I think there can't be a better model than this in Kerala for IT companies to look at it. Right? So I think this is the way to go. But this, we always depend on, as a Kerala company, most of the time we always depend on, any IT company depends on dollar terms in terms of when it comes to business rather than the Indian rupee. But things are changing, slowly changing. India becoming a larger spender, and there are companies which has been looking at it. There are models which is evolving towards that. I think that is where we need to look at it. Small and medium IT enterprises, they have a way to go in a city like Calicut, right? So I think that's the future. That's the future.
Anything, Professor, you want to add on your experience-wise, how this kind of city can be focused for development, especially with the premier institutes, how they can really make a catalyst for this kind of growth, right?
Yeah, so what institutions like IIM and I'm also adding NITs can do, that some of the ideas that is there within the boundary walls of these institutions, there are a lot of ideas, but we need to convert them, some few successes. That will probably trigger a lot of, like say for example, if you take of say any city, probably NCR is slightly different because there are diverse kind of industries and ecosystems. But if you look at say even Bangalore or Hyderabad, there are few successes which actually transform the cities as well as the image also. Yeah, whenever we talk of Bangalore, immediately some of the individual faces comes to our mind, as well as some of the individual successes. So probably we also need some of the such successes that has to happen in Calicut. And probably that is where again we need to collaborate. And some of the things that you have already highlighted, in fact we will talk more and we can initiate some of the programs which easily we can do. There is absolutely no constraints in initiating those things. Probably that can let us finally focusing on exposure and engagement. Let us initially keep at that level, then we will see how it can be leveraged.
Okay. I think collector, so connecting with your earlier points, right? So where you worked across Kerala, right, and different capacities, different roles, and what do you think Calicut needs to do different, right, compared to what they are doing now? Maybe all this connection, everything is there. Now from your current role, you also know how different things function. Is there anything you see as a challenge or something which has to be changed for Calicut so that which this team can help?
I think I'll be a little biased here and say, because now since I've become collector, like my people in my city, so I'll not say that something very drastically wrong is being done. However, there are certain things as a city we need to improve upon, and I think there's always scope to improve upon and one of my key priorities is the waste management part. Because I don't think any city can become a global city without proper waste management systems. And I'm sorry it's a wrong forum for this discussion, but it comes out to me because I have this natural inclination towards it. When we are operating, when we are dealing with outsiders, we need to clear these things very well. And now coming to the other part, I think as a city, we have a lot of upcoming infrastructure projects, which I think is going to transform the face of it. And tourism is going to be one of the key elements of what Kozhikode is going to be in the coming years, because we have got huge investments going in from the government side. for developing this ecosystem, I think we need to be a little more receptive in general, new people coming in with new ideas. It could be new office spaces, it could be new buildings, it could be new infrastructure across the district, because we have a huge coastline, we have huge elements of growth which can, different islands of growth which can occur in Kozhikode. And with the highway coming in, I think a lot of scope is opening up in terms of development across the highway for the entire Malabar region. And one thing which I see is Kozhikode being the capital, the focal point of the entire Malabar development, because we have Kannur, we have Kasaragod, we have Wayanad and Malappuram, in which all these IT destinations and IT discussions are in different phases. And I think Kozhikode can become those leader and the focal point. And government also is trying to invest in Kannur parks, in Kasaragod and all those things, and having an IT corridor. I think probably Santosh sir would have discussed on those lines. So Kozhikode should become the focal point as a Malabar head for the entire IT destination, and that will only happen once you're more receptive. The people have to be more receptive towards outsiders coming in, because Kerala people, of course, they will come and they will have an interaction and they will have their own linkage and tie-ups, but when some guests come out, we are generally very good host, but for tourists. For the people, it's different because the dynamics change. So we need to slightly tweak ourselves into that sense and be a little more open, I think.
So yesterday there was a discussion with Minister saying that it is going to be new Calicut, right? And with all the tourism project what they are doing and kind of focus on IT, etc., Calicut can become a new Calicut, like New Delhi to Delhi, right? So in that context, I was just wondering that kind of transition from an existing city to a very different city, culturally and otherwise, what is it both IIM and a corporate can play to help the transition in a much more smoother way? Is there any thought on that? The challenges which the city may face for those kind of changes, because it is a very traditional city, right? If you take it that way, and very good with trading to start with, right? And so all that kind of a thing. Now suddenly it is becoming a very different thing with tourism and many other things as part of that actually. So and also digital economy, which is coming in. So it is going to be a very different city, different this thing. How those integration and the transition challenges, which both institutes and corporate can help to solve, if it is possible.
So we always, as a business, as an industry, we are always been, whichever city, whether it's Bangalore or Pune or Hyderabad, wherever we go, we completely swap the city and we get bad name because, they say that IT companies came, the city is got completely messed. And Bangalore traffic is because of the IT companies. Hyderabad traffic is because of the IT companies. You know what? That's the synonym which we all carry. But you know what? Wherever we go, we bring in a culture there. There is a culture to it. Go to Gurgaon, go to Bangalore, go to Electronic City. There is a different culture which we have brought in, right? So actually, that is what everybody wants. So Calicut, sooner we will also see a cultural change. What we are trying to do today is to take Calicut to the new Calicut, to the new level, right? So new technology companies, it is not how large the company can be, but how different the company can be, how big the employment opportunities and the kind of exports which can bring in. I think that is the question. All these things will automatically happen. Automatically the city will go to the next level. What I have seen 15 years back, when we pushed all the IT companies into this mall which we had here, right? We all went there and started our offices there. We went around and we started the offices there. Then came Cyber Park. Then came UL Cyber Park. Today, all the parks are full. There maybe next few parks will come in. The city has grown leaps and bounds. Same thing will continue to happen. Probably collectors, we will work with the collectors and the educational institutions to sort the day-to-day problems in terms of traffic, waste management. Waste management, of course, is a technology problem. Yeah. So we bring in those kind of solutions there. So it is every Monday, collectors across the country, I think, I'm not sure, certain states, they call for a meeting with the common man and all that. So there are platforms where the collectors have created opportunities for us to go and present our case studies, depending on the kind of problem statements they make. So that engagement will help the city to grow, and platforms like City and all that will help us to showcase the talents, what we have brought in from rest of the world into Calicut. educational institutions will bring in not on, he said 95% of the people are not from Kerala. So much of people are coming in to work around in Calicut for their knowledge. So how do we use their alumni to brand Calicut better? I think these are all the ways we need to think through if we see opportunities in all these things.
Great ideas. Yeah, Professor.
Yeah, I have already spoken many of the things. I would like to add to whatever the collector said. In fact, the city, as the population goes up and a lot of outsiders comes in, yes, infrastructure becomes a big bottleneck. And that is where, yes, as an academic institutions, we are not very good executors. Let me be frank enough. But we can bring in definitely a lot of ideas. Like for example, the city development, you were talking of tourism. So again, with the initiative of the Thiruvampadi MLA, me and one of my colleagues has actually proposed some ideas for this improvement of tourism infrastructure in Kakadampail. And that was presented before the Chief Minister. That time when Sambasiva Rao was there, he was asked to prepare a detailed DPR. Then COVID started. I do not know what is the status of that. Even we have prepared a vision document for developments or rather construction industry for place. We did it a very broad study, and it was from the point of view of ULCCS. What should be the future of ULCCS?
Right.
Primarily in terms of evolution of technology, the evolution of the business models. Yes, immediately it may appear to be that these are not immediately useful, but those ideas are very, very important. And probably that is where we can be of, basically with an experimental mindset and with a little open mind, with that whatever will be the execution, that we will think of later, but let us first create ideas. Even say this transport infrastructure. In fact, we have a very strong view. A strong view in the sense that even that is one of our common discussion point in classrooms, to highlight something operational, because I teach operations management. Say, like say for example, everyone, in fact I also had some you can say bad discussions with one of the governor when I was trying to put that basically the penalties that has been recently increased by the DMV Act. And my opinion is that when you are thinking of increasing penalty, you are assuming that people are at fault. And that assumption is somewhere wrong, in the sense that if you have to change the behavior of the people, we will take 500 years to improve our system. So, but we are always overlooking the systemic part. And there are a lot of systems issue where probably we can focus and ideate. And in fact, why I am saying ideation is very, very important, because whatever Western models or templates or systems that are there, they are not directly applicable to us. We are, whatever we developed, we have to, 3 dimensions generally we have to keep in mind. It has to be affordable. We have to be considering the effect of scale, because the scale that we talk of, it's Western economies have not dealt with, and the diversity in terms of our cultural, religious, social diversities, that also has to be kept in mind. Even waste management, just this is the last point that I learned. Waste management, we were once, we were also talking in detail along with some of the Japanese initiatives. So they are like, in one of the interactions, Hitachi was there. He was talking about some Jabalpur city has implemented a waste to energy project. And then when I asked about the cost of that technology, he was also not knowing. But then we did a quick Google search, and the whole project cost was about 250 crore of rupees. It is Hitachi's technology, but Hitachi executives from Japan is saying that it is not possible in Japan. So, and the amount he has quoted for a Japanese project is not workable in India. Like say 700 crore, 800 crores for a waste to energy project simply doesn't work in India. So affordability, so those are the aspects that has to be looked into. And that is where probably academic institutions can play a very important role in ideation stage. Execution, we are not good. Let me be frank enough.
I think we are almost on time, so I think good points, and I think the point you are trying to bring out is India is all about scaling, right? And we in corporate also we say whatever we ask the people to pay in dollars, we have to ask them to pay in rupees. There it is $10, it has to be 10 rupees. So how you make it happen in that way? That is always the challenge of everybody. But India, many corporate and many companies are working that way. India always has a unique solution, which may not be the solution of West or East. Well said. So I think we are on time. So any last points before for conclusion? So this thing. So any questions? Any? Yeah.
Malabar Chamber of Commerce and City 2.0, in its effort to transform Calicut into an aspirational city, we had certain focal points. One is how to improve or better the skill sets available in Calicut with engaging with right from the schools and colleges, what we need to do to bring in the concept of creativity for the new age business in the world. Number two is how we can leverage or how we can get our alumni from NIT, IIM to look at coming back to Calicut, scenario where they can come and change the skill availability here, in Calicut. And number three is how we can actually bridge the situation where we have people with high net worth income or other very rich people, how that can be channeled to the technology opportunities in Calicut. What strategy we should take to make this as an opportunity for the NRIs to look at technology area as the investment area and potential. So City 2.0 in this effort, this is only first beginning. KTX Expo is only a beginning, and we'd like to do whatever possible to engage in these areas. And I want to just quickly get kind of input from you, how, and we're working on a strategy document, how we can go forward in achieving the challenges in all this, how we can improve or engage with the institutions right from school, to improve the language skills, creativity skills and all that, and teaching methods, and also how we can engage all our alumni to get back to Calicut, or not all, who can support maybe people in the highest level. They can decide on investment in Calicut, starting a research center in Calicut, how we can get IIM and NIT to engage with this initiative to bring in the quality change. Thank you.
Great question, but I think it needs a lot of time to answer. Anyway, I will ask collector and professor to really touch upon. Then you want to take it?
I think we've had this discussion also that once we are building upon these contacts, these leads, we need to have some system for follow-up also, which is probably we are very lacking in that. That, for example, we have 10 discussions over time, and then we don't really follow up what happened with that. And if we start following it up, probably 2 out of the 10 would turn up to be a little more serious, and then further follow-up has to be required. I think that is where, as a system, we need to start working. For example, I would request that the leads coming out of KTX 2024 are seriously pursued for 2025. That what have we done in that 1 year? Have we actually taken up any activity? Have we taken up any reports? Any proposal which has gone to the government, or vice versa? So I think let's create a system which has a monitoring and a follow-up for all the discussion that we do this year. And I think that will give us a good foundation to build over years.
So are you saying that we have to have some kind of a platform so that it always gets connected and we are not losing any of the ideas? But he brought up a lot of things like skilling right from the beginning, right? Because maybe from LKG we should start, not when they get into college, right? And how we can change that mindset. Any thoughts, Professor?
Yeah, so yes, yeah. like you have talked about from school, my elder one is in class 10. And I am also equally concerned about his skilling. And honestly speaking, there are limitations in Calicut. So that is where probably we need to work. I do not know what way IIM or NIT can help in those skillings. It has to be more from a grassroots level. The second part is if you are talking of at a little higher level of skilling and education, primarily say secondary and tertiary education generally we talk of, that is where we can probably do a lot of things, and in fact probably the key triggers will be individuals, some dynamic people from Calicut, they will trigger the things, and I could see a lot of dynamic people, and in fact I meet a lot of dynamic people from Kerala as well as Kozhikode and I am sure that this dynamism will trigger a lot of new things, and in fact now we are in touch.
Yes.
So we will soon, in fact I am promising it, soon we will initiate something in the skilling sector. Some of the old things that you have highlighted, we will rejuvenate them, restart them, as well as we will start some of the programs.
Great.
No, that is for sure.
So
Guaranteed.
we really ran out of time actually. You want to add anything last?
I'm perfectly done. I think I have shared whatever I could share. But yeah, it is again goes back to the same people. We have a beautiful ICT Academy of Kerala, which is doing a lot of work on the skilling side. I think that can go do a deep dive in terms of schooling also. There are certain ICT academies in the country which is also involved in school education skilling. So probably they are the best people. They have a complete spread. So they are the best people. So I think that is the best model which can go into various higher education to the school education.
Okay.
I want to add one thing, like say, I'm sure many of you might have had similar experiences. Like when I was in the US, my kids used to love going to the libraries. And every location, so every neighborhood used to have libraries. And libraries there were not just about books. There used to be regular skilling sessions. Even I was amazed to see that in 2012-13, there were those libraries are organizing app development workshops for class 8, 9, 10 students in the libraries. Probably something similar things that we should do.
Good. I think a lot of ideas. I think we don't have too much time. So we are almost out of time actually. And Collector also has another meeting to attend. Thank you for pushing that a little bit late. So I think thank you for the great insights. And I think we covered quite a vast amount of areas actually. And maybe we can consolidate, we can take it to next steps from these discussions. Thank you all for that. Thank you.